Hi, this is Thierry Samlal from PMML. Today I'm going to present you the statistics in the multifamily market for the province of Quebec and for September 2021. So September 2021 is marked by high market volume and high market values also. So basically we're seeing properties in the multifamily market selling at high volume in prices, but there's also a large quantity of transactions that take place every month. So if we're comparing September to the previous month, August, that would be a mistake. Why? Because August had very high abnormal transactional volume due to lateness in transactions. We had a lot of transactions that were in the pipeline that were supposed to close in June and July. And finally, because the month of July was very occupied, these transactions closed in June and August. And basically the month of August is one of the lowest months in volume normally, but this is not the case for this year. So if we want to compare apples with apples, we have to compare the month of September 2021 with the month of July. The month of July was a pretty hectic month. If we're looking at the greater region of Montreal, basically Montreal, the island, and the suburbs in the north and the south, we're talking about $426 million in volume. If you're comparing to July 2021, that was $386 million in volume. So basically what's happening right now is we have a large quantity of transactions coming through the pipeline, one shot basically, and that's definitely increasing the quantity of transactions, but also the volume in dollars basically. The area of Montreal itself, we're maintaining very high volume. We sold for $239 million in the province of Quebec. We're closed at the notaries in July, and now we're at $313 million. So that's quite a high increase. The Quebec market, basically the downtown core around Quebec, the Capitale Nationale region, as we call it here, had very, very high performance. We're seeing about 150% increase on what we would usually see in that market. So basically right now we're at $141 million in volume. Normally, Quebec City, we're going to range in the $40 to $50 million volume. So why did we have that high of an increase? Basically, there's a lot of portfolios that were sold in that region. And we're seeing a lot of owners having portfolios, selling them off. And we've been seeing this since the beginning of the year in Quebec City. And we were not seeing this in the past. So we could see that there's a request of the owners to sell their properties, and that's answered by the buyers. We have a lot of institutional buyers right now that are now interested in the Quebec City region that are leaving. Basically, they're in Montreal, but they're also opening up to Quebec City. They're opening up to Gatineau. They're opening up to Sherbrooke slowly, and that's helping to maintain the increase in prices in the different regions, and also helping to maintain a high level of confidence in the Quebec multifamily market. If we're going to Gatineau, Gatineau has a 17 million, which is pretty much standard. Gatineau is going up and down. Now, what you have to know about the Gatineau region in the multifamily market is that there's a lot of land that's transacted where basically purchasers are buying pieces of land to build multifamily projects on them and then refinance. So we're not seeing this in the statistics, and that's why the volume for Gatineau is a little lower. But I can tell you right now, we have a team on the ground in Gatineau, and they're very busy amalgamating pieces of land, selling land, and there's a lot of new build coming up in the Gatineau-Elmer region in the next few months and next few years. You're going to see a lot of property going up in that area. Of course, there's a large influence on the Ottawa market, which is extremely high price per door. That's right across the Ottawa River. That has a high influence on what we're looking at today. Sherbrooke is still a market that's looked at by many. It's a university-based city. It's a learning city basically, so there's a lot of students there. Sherbrooke is always maintaining the steady pace. We're approximately 11 million. If we're looking at July, we were at 89 million, but In that 89 million, we had a large transaction that took place, an important transactions, 2 towers, concrete, close to Lac des Nations, that picked up a lot of that volume. So if we're going around, basically high volume, high transactional volume, I'm curious to see exactly what's going to pan out in the months of October, November, December for the last quarter. If we're going to be maintaining that hike in volume, I believe that my projection is yes. We'll see how the hike in interest rates, which are probably going to be coming up on the short term, I'm estimating in October, how that's going to influence the market. Let's go to my top 5. I would like to talk to you about a large transaction that took place in Montreal North. Montreal North is a district which, if you're looking at the island of Montreal, is to the north, slightly east of the island, almost in the middle. Montreal North is an area picking up in value. There's a lot of 8 plexes, 16 plexes. That's most of the inventory that was built in that area, and that's selling right now at very low cap rates. The buildings are of usually 1960, 1970 construction, and we're seeing a large appetite for those areas because there's an upscale in rent, which is very interesting there. So I would like to talk to you about an asset, which is a retirement asset, basically of over 450 doors, 9 stories high, all concrete, a sale of approximately 45 million. So that sale went for close to $100,000 per door. Which can seem on the low side when you're looking at a multifamily asset, but when you're looking at a retirement asset, what you must know is on top of the operational costs, you also have costs related to the basically your workforce. So all of the expenses, all the salaries, the advantages that those employees have, etc., maintaining a workforce. That's going to influence your expense ratio, and that's going to diminish your price per door. I still think that this purchase is very interesting. Is the purchaser going to keep it as a retirement asset? Is there going to be a conversion into a multifamily asset? The seller that sold basically has several buildings in the mid-range, but not that much in quantity. And the buyer basically has over 700 doors, mostly in Montreal West and Montreal East, on the island itself of Montreal. So I'm pretty sure that this portfolio, this building basically, which has also tenant furnished heating, so the owner pays for the energy costs of the building. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a repositioning of the asset based on the expenses. Can it be optimized as far as the energy costs, and can we optimize the building by converting it in from a retirement asset to a multifamily asset? If that's the case, the upscale in value is tremendous. So my top 2, let's go to Quebec City. I'm going to talk to you about a newer asset that sold 5 stories above ground. It's an ensemble of buildings that approximately 250 doors, sold to close to $280,000 per door, which is starting to be what we're seeing in the recent buildings that are sold in Quebec City. There's another asset that sold for about $290,000 per door. So we're ranging between $275,000 to $300,000 per door, depending on if we have underground parking, if we have elevators, if we have amenities, if we have services. So this asset, all the energy costs are paid by the tenants. So it went for around $280,000 per door. It was bought by an institutional buyer, which has been established in the province of Quebec for quite a while now. It was one of the first institutional buyers to set foot in the province of Quebec and to purchase over the years. And now there are over 5,000 units that they own in the province of Quebec. So they know the market. They have most of their assets in Montreal, but some assets in Quebec City also. The building is constructed out of concrete, so that's definitely what they're usually looking for. If I'm talking about institutional buyers, of course. What I find interesting here is it's a walk-up concept, basically. So it's several buildings. Usually the institutional players are going to be looking for something which is a little higher and more high-rise, basically, and more condensed. Here we're talking about a portfolio that was bought, which is all in the same basically area. Now this is close to Chute-Montmorency, so I don't know if you know Quebec City, but if you've been there before, you've probably been in Old Quebec. If you were in Old Quebec and you're standing on the Belvedere, the walkway there, That basically, this asset is to the east, close to Chute-Montmorency. So it's an interesting place to live because you're close to the city. You're not in the Saint Foy area, which when you come into to Quebec City, which is a little bit poorer area, but you're in more a high-scale area with a nice view. So that makes a lot of sense for a purchaser. And for an institutional player, I understand why they did do their purchase in that area. Top 3, still in Quebec City, a portfolio now which is much smaller in size, but when you're looking at the footprint on the ground, it's much larger. An ensemble of buildings, 180 doors, 9 buildings. Now this one went for pretty low. We're talking about $105,000 per door, which is quite low for an asset in Quebec City, but it's an ensemble, so it's a package deal. What's interesting here is there's a definite increase in rents that is possible. This is located in the Saint Foy district, so the district I was talking about. When you're coming from Montreal, you're driving into Quebec City, where you're going to hit first is Saint Foy, and that's the older area, basically. And this asset is in that area. There's so it's several buildings, large parking lot, large grounds. Basic amenities for the tenants, but it's a walk-up, so there's no elevators in this product. There is an underground pool, etc. But what's interesting here is that the heating is included, so basically it's included in the rent. So at $105,000 per door, if you're going to be coming and going optimize the rent and then optimize the energy costs, you're definitely going to, at the refi, pick up a lot of value. Top 3. We're going to Dorval. Dorval is a district which is close to the Pierre-Elliott Trudeau Airport. So if you're flying into Montreal, you probably flew over this asset coming over the river and the lake. So this is close to the lake waterfront. It's a concrete asset. It's 57 doors, 6 stories high, plus a penthouse floor. Beautiful view. Now the heating and the electricity are included in the rent, so there's definitely an upscale there possible. This asset went for close to $205,000 per door, which makes more sense for that area, but it's still on the high side if you're comparing to all of the other assets sold in that area in the past year. So larger building, underground garage, close to the REM train, light train that's being installed right now in the West Island. And also the other thing that you have to know is that it's close to to downtown Montreal. It's also close to Royalmount, which is a new commercial center that's being built. It's going to be accessible through the REM system. And there's not that many of these buildings sold in that area in a year. So if you're looking at, if you want to buy in that area, you have to go to Dorval, Lachine, you have to go to Pointe-Claire. There's not many assets that were built in Pointe-Claire. It's more of a residential area. You have to go to Delard des Ormeaux or DDO for the people that know the acronym. So basically, it's interesting to buy. Now this was sold through the same community. The seller is leaving the market, so this is one of his last assets, and the buyer has over 900 doors. So an experienced buyer coming in with a lot of weight into the file, with a lot of experience, with the know-how, always does impress the seller. Okay, so now I would like to go to my last asset, and we're going to the Plateau Mont-Royal. So for those who know the Plateau Mont-Royal, there's a large park in the middle, which is called the Parc La Fontaine. This asset is literally 1 minute walking distance from the entrance of the park. So it makes it very interesting. Of course, it's a walk-up asset. Now a total of 4 floors above ground, plus an underground floor, which is habitated. No parkings. There's no parkings in that area. So most of the tenants are going to be biking and using public transportation. There is the Métro Mont-Royal, which is close by. You're close to Rachel. Rachel is an east-west axis with a bicycle path and a walk path, permitting you to go into downtown Montreal very rapidly by public transportation or by biking or hiking, basically, if I could call it that way. Also, you have access to the Mount Royal Mountain and to all of the amenities of Mont-Royal Street, which is a commercial street. So a lot of European clientele, a lot of European tenants there willing to pay the high prices, but also since the tenants don't have any vehicles, you're able to upscale the rents and coordinate with that and offer services. So this asset was a logical purchase. The seller is leaving the market once again, and the buyer is now has experience in multifamily, but also has experience in commercial and other real estate assets. So he's starting to build and solidify his portfolio, and this is what he wants to do here. So an asset that went for about $185,000 per door. It is heated by gas. Is there going to be a conversion? Maybe yes, maybe no, but there's a definitely hike in rent that is possible. So that wraps up basically the month of September 2021. Stay tuned for the rest of the year. It's going to be very interesting to see where the market is going, if the interest rates are going to hike a bit. A lot of the maintenance of the prices right now in the urban areas, the prices are maintained, of course, by external buyers coming into the province, people coming from the rest of Canada, pumping in money into the province, institutional buyers maintaining the market high and maintaining the confidence in the market high. And also, there's a definite large amount of money coming from equity that has been refinanced on the short term that's coming into the market, that has been refinanced since the month of December last year. And that money's being pumped back into the multifamily market. So stay tuned. Please follow us on PMML.tv for all of the information content. We also have the website PMML.ca, where you're going to see all of our assets that are for sale. Come and see us on our dedicated land sales site, which is landdev.ai. I'm always available to answer any of your questions personally. Just send me a note, an email, or leave me a message. I will be glad to answer your questions. We'll see you next month. Thank you very much.